Oh my god. I think my vlogging has got out of hand. I've got so much equipment now, I don't know what on earth I'm going to do with it all. Okay, before we get started, I'd just like to apologise for being a bit tardy with my video this week. I spent most of last week feeling absolutely lousy. I got something that had the same symptoms as flu and I felt absolutely awful. So the idea of getting on the bike and going somewhere was a total non-starter. Anyway, this week I'm going to make a video about all my vlogging equipment, which is something I've been meaning to do for quite a while but haven't got round to. So as you will see, we may have gone a little bit out of control actually, but I'll go through all the equipment I now possess. I don't think I actually use all of it, and you can see what's involved in making a vlog going around the countryside. So before I embarked on my new life in Thailand, I thought it might be a good idea to buy myself a little camera just to document how my life had changed so much here. Intention was just to make a few videos to share with the family and friends, and I'd actually had no intention of putting anything on YouTube whatsoever. So before I got here, I bought myself a little action camera from one of the Chinese online stores. I think it was wish.com, and this is it. The Sjcam 4000. It cost me the princely sum of about £80. Pretty basic, no 4K, no image stabilization, but the picture quality was decent. First video I ever made, I think, was at Pachor, which I did a revised version of a few weeks ago, taking a 360 camera with me. And it was that bad that I have eventually deleted it. It was shaking all over the place, and the picture quality was okay, but nothing to write home about. And I really didn't have much clue what I was doing either. So while I've still got the SJ4000, I don't really use it anymore at all. So I've only been in Thailand a few months, and I was starting to like the idea of making a few more videos. So I did a bit of research and found out about things like image stabilization. And so I bought this, which on the face of it looks no different to the SJ4000, but this is the Sjcam Sj6, and it in fact has image stabilization, shoots in up to 2K, though you can cheat and make it look like 4K, so it's in what's called interpolated 4K. In fact, I'm still using it to this day and I'm been very pleased with it. The only problems I have with it is sometimes it decides to switch the audio off when recording, so it always pays to double check that you have in fact switched the audio on and the camera hasn't taken it upon itself to switch it off again. So these little action cameras are great for making videos, but not really that brilliant at taking still photos. So I decided it would be a good idea to get myself a DSLR, which I could use to make some decent still photographs and also could use for video as well. Again, did a fair bit of research, didn't want to spend an arm and a leg on get something with all the whistles and bells, and I eventually bought a Canon EOS 800D. It was a toss-up between that and the 80D, but this is about 3/4 of the size of the 800D, and a recurring theme you'll find when I buy camera gear is that it needs to be as small as possible, because I'm travelling around on a motorbike. I don't have the boot of a car to throw everything in, so I can't actually show you the 800D because I'm actually using it to make this video. So following getting the Canon DSLR, get it right, I was having some difficulties keeping my video footage steady unless I had the camera on a tripod. So walking about trying to make a video tended to be a bit jumpy. And I got interested in gimbals, but they seemed a lot of money. In fact, they were as much again as the camera was. But riding to the rescue came my son, who is a professional filmmaker and photographer. He actually decided he wanted to upgrade his gimbal so he could carry a bigger payload, and asked me if I was interested in buying his old one off him. And this is said item. It's a Zhiyun crane, the first model. It's been upgraded probably about 4 or 5 times since it was made, and new they were at £450. And it's in perfect working order, so I said okay, I'll give you 200 quid for it, which we agreed on, and I've been using that ever since. If you want to use a DSLR to make videos and keep them nice and smooth, unless you have perfected the ninja walk, which a lot of the pros use, you really do need something like a Steadicam or a gimbal. And when you get to my age and your joints are creaking, you definitely need one. My son had come to live over in Bangkok actually for about a year to try his luck work-wise, to see if it was any better than working in England, and after a year decided no, it wasn't. I think he found certain aspects of the bureaucracy somewhat wearing, shall we say, even though he is half Thai. So he's gone back to London. Anyway, when he went back, he had loads of stuff that he couldn't take because of the weight thing, not wishing to pay an arm and a leg to take his luggage back. So I acquired a few things. This, which is a Monopod. I haven't used it for quite a long time though. I think I may have found a new use for it, which I will come on to later. Also one of these, which is a Gorillapod, which is quite handy to use, and a tripod, again which you can't see at the moment because the Canon camera is sat on it at present. So as you can see by now, my collection is getting somewhat larger, but we haven't really finished yet. Got to the point with making motovlogs that I was getting fed up of having this reasonable sized brick attached to my helmet, and was looking at alternatives. And there's a few action cameras that have a lot slimmer profile, one of which is made by Sony, but it's expensive, and another company who make these are a company called Drift Innovation. And I bought this, which is a Drift Ghost X, which is the bottom of the range of their helmet cameras. The Ghost S I think has higher quality reproduction, and they also have a 4K version, though I've heard some tales about that not being awfully reliable. The other advantages of the drift camera is, besides having a lot lower profile and not having the wind buffeting as you drive along, it's got built-in electronic image stabilization, and best of all, the battery lasts for 5 hours filming as opposed to about an hour which you get out of most action cameras. So you weren't having to constantly be checking whether your battery was still working and you were still filming. All in all, I've been pretty happy with it. As things have progressed and I've got more sophisticated equipment, the image stabilization doesn't feel as good as it was when I first got it. I mean, it hasn't changed at all, it's just that the other stuff I'm now using has got much better image stabilization. But for the price I paid for it, I really can't complain. I mean, I paid less than £100 for it, and it's certainly very good value for money. Moving along, we then got to start spending some serious money, and along came this. This of course is my Maverick Air Drone, which cost me just short of £1,000, including the registration and insurance as well. I've been thinking about buying a drone and kept saying no, it's a fad, it's a gimmick, I don't really need one. But it got to Christmas last year and I thought, go on here and be generous, buy yourself a present. So I went down to the local DJI shop and bought myself one of these. Again, I picked this drone because of the size, and it folds up really small, so it's no problem jumping on the bike and shooting off with this. Fits the bill perfectly for me. And as with every piece of kit that you buy, there's always accessories. So I got some of these. These are ND neutral density filters, specifically for the Maverick Air, and I actually managed to get these half price, which is a bit of a bargain. The reason you need these for most drones, though there are some drones which have a adjustable aperture, is that the camera on the Maverick Air, and as I say most drones, is fixed aperture. So the only things you can actually alter are the ISO and the shutter speed. Now if you're going to do the job properly, you need to set your shutter speed using what's called the 180-degree rule. So if you're filming at 24-25 frames per second, you should be using 1/50 shutter speed, and if you're filming at 30 frames per second, you should be using 1/60, etc, etc. So as I say, to do the job properly, that's another thing you can't adjust. And with the bright light in Thailand, even going down to ISO 100, you're still going to get your film overexposed. So Indy Filters are basically sunglasses for cameras, and they come in with various numbers: 4, 8, 16, 32, and the higher the number goes, the more light it blocks. So I find I tend to use 16 99% of the time here, which is perfect for sunny days in Thailand. So having splashed the cash on the drone, that seemed to open the floodgates in terms of buying bits and bobs, extras, accessories, stuff like that. So having got a gimbal for the DSLR, I've just said it again, good. So having got a gimbal for the DSLR, the Canon camera, I bought myself one for my action camera as well, which if you combine that with the in-camera image stabilization, makes it really smooth. This is in fact the second one I bought, because the first one was a big mistake. Wasn't very good quality. One of the motors burnt out, and I just binned it actually, because if I'd have sent it back to the manufacturer, they would probably have just turned around and said, well, I broke it, which I don't think I did. So I bought this one, which is a Sjcam, which is the same manufacturer as the one I use for the Canon camera. So if you're going to get a gimbal for your action cam, you might as well get one for your phone as well. This is a new phone which I bought. It's a Xiaomi Mi 9, and it films in 4K up to 60 frames per second. It also does super slow-mo up to 240 frames per second in full HD. And I believe it will even film in 960 frames per second, but only for a 1 second video, which seems a bit of a waste of time and a gimmick to me. But the footage you can get off mobile phones now is absolutely ridiculous. The progress they've made in the last 2 or 3 years is absolutely phenomenal. And you can see why some people don't bother buying a traditional camera, they just film everything on one of these. It's got a 48 megapixel sensor in the camera for taking photos and as HDR photos, wide angle lens and electronic zoom. So what more do you want? Probably my least successful purchase has been this, which probably looks remarkably similar to the other 2 action cameras that I've shown you. This is in fact the latest Sjcam model, the Sj8 Pro, which films in 4K up to 60 frames per second. I decided I wanted to buy a proper 4K camera to upload videos to a site for selling video clips. Unfortunately, this camera's been a pain in the neck, and the touchscreen at the back has decided it's had enough and doesn't want to play ball anymore. So I can film in 4K 30 frames per second and nothing else whatsoever, because I can't change any settings at all. It is still in warranty, but I have to send it back to China, and for some strange reason they say they will not accept it if it's signed for delivery, which I'm not very happy about, because all they have to do is turn around and say, oh, we never got it, and that's the end of that. So I'm sort of 50-50 at the moment, whether just to write the thing off or whether to send it back. Okay, so we're almost done. As my regular viewers will know, I have one more addition to the camera family, which is this little devil, the Insta 360 1X, which I've been using a lot recently for 360 videos. Still in the realms of experimentation, and it's all a bit hit and miss, trial and error, but you can certainly do some remarkable things with it. And as far as image stabilization is concerned, it knocks spots out of everything else I've got. The great advantage is you don't have to point the camera at a specific spot, and you're never going to miss anything, because if something happens behind you, it doesn't matter, because this camera is videoing it all the time. So you can actually find, as I did probably about 6 weeks ago, when a rather large wasp or hornet came flying near the camera, you can get some pretty amazing shots when they come up really close. Obviously you can freeze the frame and get some quite detailed pictures. Anyway, hopefully I'm done now. I think I spent enough money. I think I spent far too much money. I remember somebody saying to me, must have been all of 40 years ago, that photography is an expensive hobby, as then cameras were just used for taking photographs. There was no video really, apart from the professional big cameras. And they weren't kidding. There's always something new to buy, always upgrades. but I'm putting a halt to the spending, certainly for the foreseeable future. I hope you've enjoyed this video, me running through how things can maybe get out of hand when you get into the business of making videos and photographs, but I enjoy doing it, so you can take it as money well spent. If you've enjoyed this video, a thumbs up would be really nice, and feel free to subscribe. I'll be making lots more videos, mainly on this beautiful area of Thailand around Chiang Mai, but also from time to time equipment reviews, a similar sort of line to this video. If you turn on the notifications with the bell icon, you'll receive a message into your inbox every time I post a new video. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again.